This is day 3 of reviewing mods and adding them to my mod pack until I have the coolest mod pack possible. For today's mod, we're going to be doing Alex's Caves, which actually adds 6 brand new caves along with a bunch of brand new mobs and weapons that I'll be showcasing in this video. Starting off, we have the Primordial Cave, the Abyssal Cave, the Candy Cavity Cave, the Hollows Cave, the Toxic Cave, and lastly, the Magnetic Cave. Starting off with the Primordial Cave, there's a bunch of new additions such as mobs, volcanoes, new blocks, and even new items. The most notable of the items being the Extinction Spear, which you can throw, cast fire, and it'll return to you, and the Primordial Armor Set, as well as a Primitive Club, which actually, if you summon one of the mobs and you end up hitting it, will actually stun them so that they cannot move or attack you. Very useful item, especially if you're fighting one of these bigger guys. This cave is called the Magnetic Cave. This cave has a bunch of uniqueness to it, especially when you come close to these pillars, which, as you can see, whenever I'm holding something magnetic, actually attracts me to it, and if I wear my iron boots, it actually flips you upside down. And I think this is actually very, very cool and very unique concept. Next up, you also have the hologram projector, which obviously is super awesome. I think this is literally one of the coolest things ever. And for the coolest part of this biome, not only are the mobs super unique and cool, you also have something called the Galena Gauntlet, which actually allows you to remotely mine from a distance, which is the coolest thing ever. I think this is one of the most awesome things I've ever seen in my life. Like, I can switch it to my sword, and I can attack from a distance. Like, is this not the coolest thing you guys have ever seen? Now, next up we have the Abyssal Cave, which has a bunch of new mobs as well. Very cool mobs. It's more of an underwater theme. You are going to have to wear the diving set in order to come visit the Abyssal Caves, and they also added a bunch of different weapons, such as this Ortho Lens, which kind of works like a trident. You have something called the Submarine, which you can actually ride in and control. Very sick. You have the main mob of the Abyss, the Hull Breaker, as well as a weapon called the Sea Staff, which actually does a frick ton of damage. Next up, we have the Candy Cavity Cave, which actually includes 9 new mobs and a bunch of new items as well. It comes with something called the Rain Bounce Boots, which actually allow you to run very, very quick. You also have the Frostman Spear, which does some damage whenever thrown. Sharpened Candy Cane, which kind of works like an iron sword. A Candy Cane Hook, which is actually very useful when trying to scale. Then you also have a magic weapon called the Sugar Staff, which summons things to orbit you for 3 seconds. And last but not least, you have the Shotgun, which is actually just a candy shotgun. The 2 most notable mobs of this cave are definitely the Licka Witch, which uses magic to kill you, and the Gumworm, which is a huge mob that travels the candy cavities the entire time. So while you're mining, you better watch out. So next up we have the Hollows, which is actually a very, very cool cave, and it comes with a bunch of endgame items, such as this item called the Dreadbow. It rains a bunch of arrows down from the sky. You also have an item called the Desolate Dagger that whenever you hit something, creates a ghost dagger that hits them right after. There's obviously a bunch more to this cave, but one of the main things you need to look out for is this mob down here. Now, the Forsaken is spawned due to a bunch of rituals by a bunch of the other mobs up here, and you can get pure darkness from killing these mobs, which actually allow you to craft the Hood of Darkness and the Cloak of Darkness, which allow you to actually get temporary fast flight and is very good utility armor. And last but not least, we have the Toxic Caves, which, as you can see, is very, very adamant about toxicity. You actually have an armor set called the Hazmat Armor Set, which looks very unique, and I think it looks very cool. Now, the mobs that this adds is actually very cool. You have the Nucleaper, which this thing is really awesome. I'll show you guys what it does in a second. You have the Radigill, which spawns in these waters, Brainiac, roaches, a cat, a radioactive cat, which is super cool, and you even have the Tremorzilla, which is a super cool boss for this type of environment. Not only that, but you also have a weapon called the Ray Gun, which I think is super cool. Like, I don't know who's coming up with this stuff, but like, genuinely some of the coolest stuff I've seen in a while. Like, just look at this damage. I can do this from a distance. Like, how broken is that? you also have a new lighting item called the Uranium Rod, which I think allows for some very cool decorative features. You can also pick up this asset and place it down anywhere you like. You have a bunch of brand new blocks, and I think this is definitely one of the cooler biomes in my opinion. I haven't ever seen anything like this before. It is a super crazy siren effect, and then it just obliterates everything, which I was wearing full netherite and I still died. And last but not least, we're back on the surface, but we actually have one last thing, the nuclear bomb. You can just go ahead and detonate this nuclear bomb, and as you guys can see, it's about to explode, and holy, one of the coolest animations I have ever seen for a bomb. Like, look at this. But anyways, guys, that was Alex's Caves. If you guys like this mod, make sure you guys comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next mod review. Peace!